It's your destiny to greatness with Dr. C and Brothers Keeper. Today, where we've been, where we're going, and Friday trivia. And now, here are Dr. C and Brothers Keeper.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your destiny to greatness. Dr. C here with my good friend,
Brothers Keeper, and I'm excited as usual.
Well, look, today we are talking about something that we all should be able to celebrate about. Getting myself, in quotes, back.
Yes, because it's very easy, if we're not careful, trying to please others, we can lose sight of ourselves.
Exactly. And most of us have experienced that, if not for a long period of time, a short period of time, because being the pleasers that we are, we tend to put ourselves back on the back burner and constantly work towards trying to help somebody else. And in doing that, sometimes we forget all about who we really are and what we really want.
Yeah, and once you find yourself in that position, your mind begins to play tricks on you, and we begin to think that's our position, our destined position, and that's not so. So we have to be very careful who we are surrounding ourselves with, and we understand that it doesn't take much for people to get us off center.
Well, we want to make sure that we are totally centered today as we talk together about getting myself back. You may have already realized that, but when we finish today, we'll be able to help everyone that we come in contact with, because it's so important that we are comfortable with ourselves and that we continue to reach for our destiny. We'll be back in just a moment. Okay, we're back, and we're talking about getting myself back. Sometimes in this life, you'll feel and you'll be going through the motions, and it's almost as if anything that someone says or does, it hurts our feelings or makes us feel bad, or we attack. What is that all about? I know what I think it's about.
A lot of times, we're unsure of who we are, our individuality. And many times, people will use things or other people as a reference point to, what's the word I'm looking for? Validate who they are or we are. I mean, I've done it. We've all done it. It's just a process of us learning how to be comfortable in our own skin. And many times, we lose sight on whether or not we're really people, or we being played like a puppet.
That's true. There are times when I give examples to people, but definitely to my students, when they're always arguing and fussing just because someone said something. And I said, wait a minute. Do not give up control.
Yes.
Because when you do, that means that that other person is pulling your strings, and they'll say things or do things just to get you out of character.
I say it all the time. Many times we have power, but the people don't even take it from us. We relinquish it. Very easy, because as we stated before, if you're not secure with who you are, you kind of walking around, seemingly everything's fine, but you're in search mode. It's just like trying to pair up a Bluetooth. You're busy trying to pair it with who you are, and every little thing going on around you, you're checking it. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. And not understanding if we just seek counsel from God, we get a better grip on who we are and who we're supposed to be.
And that's important as far as this grip on who we are, because sometimes if we are not the same size as other people, we look in our eyes, well, you know, I'm too large, or I'm too heavy, or I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. And there are always people around who want to attach with someone who has that mindset, because then they can sort of use, I'm thinking of a remote control car, they can use that particular joystick or what have you to lead them and guide them in places they shouldn't go. And one thing about it, no matter what size you are or how much schooling you've had, you have what it takes inside. You just need to have someone positive. He mentioned God definitely, but he also puts positive people in our path to be able to help us.
Yeah, we have to connect with like-minded people, because if you're not with someone who has the core values that you possess or that I possess, as she said before, you're going to stay off course. And the more you're off course, it's that much longer before you'll be able to figure out who you really are and what your place in life is, your destined place to be, your destined thing to do. It's very simple. Seek God and those around you, and you'll know what you're supposed to do. And then once you become comfortable with what you're supposed to do, then you can pour your all into it and be that you're supposed to be.
But I hear you talking, and they hear you talking as well in reference to seeking God and seeking God. But however, if I don't feel worthy, and then I'm with this person who they look like they have it all together, I don't have to think so much if I just follow them, even if it doesn't always make me feel good, but I'm comfortable in that spot. So, but you're saying you seeking God, I might not even feel that that's necessary for me to do.
And you're exactly right. More often than not, that is what happens. But that doesn't discount the fact that they still have to put God in the equation.
I get that. But I also know that many times we'll say that. Those of us who have been walking this Christian journey for a little while, just give it to God. Give it to God. Well, we're talking to people who are hurting, who not necessarily know who they are or what it is that they are supposed to do, or even know their potential, because they have sunk right under someone who has their thumb on them. And sometimes that someone could be the pastor.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I was saying, and many times it could be, as you said before, giving it to God. It could be the very ones right in the church and still don't know. I mean, I'm saying that's the answer, but I don't know how easy it is to get to that point.
Well, was it easy for you?
No, it was not.
Well, right then, so you know exactly. Exactly, and that's just the thing. It's time for us to put things out real. We know now, we can see other people who may look and appear that they're not happy or they're not pleased, but for us just to say, well, give it to God, we have to come a different way. And one way is to come with some compassion for that particular person. And we have to gain that particular trust so that they'll want to hear about this God and not just push him off to the side.
Yeah, we have to figure out how to bridge the gap in order to get them to be a little more open-minded to about the things that we're talking about.
Right.
And as I said before, it's not going to be easy, even though that's the answer. I should explain a little more that it's not as easy to get there as it seems. Because as you asked before, it wasn't easy for me. And I'd hear the same thing, and I hear the same thing. But the more that I started this thing of praying and talking to God, the more I did it, things started to change. And the more I did it, the easier it became. But as you said before, I didn't want to hear it in the beginning. Or if I heard it, I said, okay, all right, I'll try it, and walk away, and kept right on doing the same thing. Kept being stuck in that same vicious cycle that I was in. And as you said before, using those same ones to validate who I was instead of figuring out the right path to take to get me where I need to be.
Well, there's a path for each and every one of us. And we hope that you are listening and taking in, because there is a place above where you are right now, where you should be. How do you get there? When do you get there? When is it your time? These are questions that we all ask. And if you are walking in someone else's shadow, then it's going to take you longer to get there if you ever get there. So just for a couple of minutes, I want you to think about your station in life. Where is it that you're at? Do you know who you are and what it is that you're supposed to do? And when we come back, we're going to tie this up, but we're depending on you to kind of send us some of those good vibes on through. We'll see you in just a moment.
We're back. And if I could piggyback on what Dr. C was talking about earlier, when we're walking in someone else's shadow. If you could visualize walking in a shadow is kind of putting just a little bit of darkness there. So if you're walking in their shadow, you're already walking in darkness. As we stated on one of our earlier segments, that it's time to come out of the darkness. And until we realize who we are, how can we control our sense of self? Walking in someone else's shadow. Waiting on the permission from someone else before you can do things that you know you should be able to do. Others don't have to validate who we are. We have enough within us to be able to be that person that we need to be.
So that means it's time for us to get our confidence back. In
Yes.
this segment, we're talking about getting myself back. Then we need that confidence. We need that assurance that God is, and He has put in us everything that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can hook up and complement each other. However, I don't have to be all the way in the background when Brother's Keeper is doing something, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
You are important. You have a mind, and the thoughts that you have are different from mine, but they're just as important. Your impact can be so great if you would just sort of crack that shell and that hold.
Unleash it.
Exactly. We used to watch some of, the movies, and Mummy, that's one of my favorite ones, and they were walking around, just in a zone and a daze, and that's not how we're supposed to be. We have a lot to offer, and there are people who are looking for you to lead them, not into darkness, but to show them that if you could come out, then they could too. You may be in a relationship that is unhealthy. Your boyfriend or husband or whoever is abusive, but you don't want to go because you may not have the finances or the vehicle, or are so unsure. What can I do without him? So much. And that's the reason why Brother's Keeper was saying, seek God. And he was talking about through that prayer. But you have to get to the point of where you understand that there is a way out and there is help. And the praying is kind of like we're talking now. The Lord, I'm hurting. Yes. I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Can you help me?
He is a friend in our time of need, and we have the capability to go to him and talk to him just like we do our friends. Many times people think you got this great sense of communication that you need to be able to talk to the Lord. No. He's a friend in our time of need. So what should we be able to do to our friends? Talk to them. Yeah. So just talk to him. Yeah. And the more you talk to him, after a while, as she said, by and by, the shell will begin to crack. Mm-hmm. Some light will start to shed on our seemingly dark area. And we already have it within us to do the things that we are capable of doing.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. And you can't help but get the light because God is light. Mm-hmm. So today, we're just hoping that you will at least assess where you're at. If you know who you are, then great. Then let's join together and help someone else who may not know. If you're not sure, now is the time for you to put you first and find out who you are and what it is that you're supposed to do. Getting myself back. We'll be back because it's Friday Trivia. Stay right there.
Okay, we're back. And as promised, we have a Friday trivia question for you. But as always, I will lead up to it.
Go ahead.
I'll give you some meat to go with the bread. We're talking about Daniel. And Daniel found himself in a position where he could very easily been thrown off center had he not been comfortable with himself and had not understood who he was and his sense of individuality and what he stood for, and he stood firm on what he thought. My question today is, who was the king that sent Daniel to the lion's den because Daniel was being defiant to what he should have been doing for the king?
All right. Who was the king that sent Daniel
to the lion's
to the
den?
lion's den? Okay. Nice. Get your answers in. Thank you so much for those of you who participate and send your answers in. And thank you for those who don't send your answers in, but you know the answers or you check it. Either way. So we're appreciative. Get your answers in tonight. What? By 11:59
p.m.
Yes. And you know you can always email your answers to your.destinytogreatness@gmail.com. Health, wealth, and beauty. Health, wealth, and beauty.
I'm understanding that a lot of us are just getting into the swing of driving in winter weather. It takes a while to transition from riding in summer weather and fall weather into winter weather. It would behoove us to understand that when the roads are starting to become icy and have snow, we have to reduce our speed. The life that we save might just be our own. So if we could just slow down just a little, not be so in a hurry to get where we're going, and leave a little sooner to give us enough time to be able to get there instead of rushing. It's just me thinking again. Hi, this is Brother's Keeper. It's just me thinking again. You know, a lot of times we have to be very careful when we're presenting ourselves to people, because we have a presenting self and a perceived self. Sometimes we think we're doing one thing and we're actually doing another. So I'm thinking if we seek counsel from God and understand who we really are and come back to the center of who we are, and then we accept the good and the bad of who we are, we can begin to do some maintenance and bring out the best of who we are, so we'll be able to serve God and others at the best of our ability, and we can be true to the cause, understanding that we're doing exactly what we should be doing and have no qualms about doing it, because we're standing for what we believe, in which what we stand for is ultimately who we are. It's just me thinking again. We are destined for greatness.
You know, I was thinking about Psalms 51:12. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. When the Lord restores us, our joy, it is there always. Get it. Get what's yours today. Just ask Him. You're worthy. You're worth it. God created you to be and work for Him. Go and get that joy. And once you get that joy, that true joy from the Lord, you'll be able to walk towards your destiny. We are destined for greatness.